Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 6th. I hope everybody had a great Canada Day celebration and a great 4th of July celebration. And now we're in July. I want to take a look and see, what we can anticipate for the Trumps, frankly, and from the Trumps, as we move through the month of July. Because, you know, if it wasn't for their brains. So Eric Trump is out on television saying, well, of course my father paid for Weisenberg's grandchildren's, tuition. Do you know why? Because he's a great guy. Okay, so obviously not familiar with the term tax fraud. So I want to take a look at them because they're becoming more and more erratic. Apparently, at one of his recent rally hate marathons, I think is what they really are. He went from there's nobody who knows the tax code better than me. I'm the smartest guy. I'm smarter than any CPA in the world. I know taxes too. Who could understand them? They're so confusing. Does anybody understand taxes? So clearly that's going to be his defense, which boils down to I'm stupid. So I have my pendulum here, so we'll ask them yes/no questions and go from there. So maybe let's start with those. So here we go. I'm just going to ask a few of them, okay? And the pendulum's obviously ready and anxious to get going here, so here we go. First question is, are there going to be indictments handed down to any member of the Trump family in July? Are those indictments likely to come in August or September? And you can see how that shifts straight into a yes. Okay. Is Weisselberg going to sort of flip before this thing heads to court? Yeah, that's looking a little bit more like a no. And is he likely to flip before or while court is in session, like a trial is in session, or once the trial is complete while he's waiting for sentences? Is that likely when he's likely to? Yeah. Are there other Trump Organization executives that have shared what they know? Yes. So, this is the thing, right? I think that in some ways, we, the greater we, are making a little bit of a mistake in saying, well, listen, Weiselberg was the only one who can flip. Weiselberg's the only one who knows enough stuff. I don't know that that's actually true. And I think that there may be a few people in the background who have already decided to save their butt. Hey, Twyla. Have already decided to save their butt. And they've talked. So I have a question. And my question is, what can we expect as we move through the month of July from the King of Mar-a-Lago and his brilliant family? Come down, I have a question. Alrighty, so here we go. For those of you in Florida, stay safe, stay dry. I haven't honestly been paying attention, so I don't know if that storm has been downgraded to something that is safe. For those of you in the northwest, it's cooled down here in Alberta, so I'm assuming it's cooled down a little bit there. So I hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much to my new subscribers. The donations blow me away. Thank you so much for that. And if anybody's looking for a private reading, I am booking towards the end of July and into the beginning of August. Here we go. Trump family, July. Trump family, July. Trump family, July. Let's see what we've got. Hi. Excuse me. Thank you. That was Twyla. Okay, so we've got, a bit of an out in the cold here. Yeah. And what else do we have? He always shows up, eh? Okay, so for right now, there is sort of like a low-grade sense of panic because I think that they're starting to get the message that they're not going to get away with it this time, and particularly for the king there. That's a hard concept actually for him to wrap his head around because he always has. And so he's having a hard time understanding why this would be any different. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but they continue to get news, kind of quiet rumblings behind the scenes that frankly we're not privy to. That is, it feels very much like very chaotic energy, almost like tailspin energy, right? They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know how accurate what they're hearing is. They don't know how in depth some of the investigations have gone. And so what you're getting from them is this sort of panicked, I'm just going to keep talking until maybe something I say will sort of like exonerate us, okay? And honestly, that's sort of their style, right? It's that sort of salesman mentality where it's like, well, I'm just going to keep talking because maybe then I can sort of confuse you, right? And then you sort of have lost track of what the main story is. And he's been doing that his whole life, and he did it very well while he was in the White House. And certainly his two sons also exhibit that same pattern. Exposure's coming. And they're having a very, very hard time wrapping their heads around exactly how exposed they might be. Junior went on, I guess, a bit of I think it was a Facebook rant or a Twitter rant, something. And one of the commentators said that perhaps it would have been helpful had he not looked like he was coming down off of a 3-day Coke bender. So they're unraveling. That's the bottom line. They're just unraveling. They continue to get news that honestly it kind of is really terrifying to them, and they don't have any clarity really on how they're going to sort of resolve this. And so what you get is these people who just are spinning and they're talking, and Trump is saying whatever comes to his head, and so are the boys, because that's kind of what they do. Ivanka, on the other hand, her and Jared have become increasingly quiet because they're very definitely in defense mode, okay? They are distancing themselves as much as they can, and frankly, as quickly as they can, because they see the writing on the wall. And I have to say that I don't know who's sort of smart enough to do that. I feels like it's not even coming from Jared as much as it may be coming from the Kushner family, um, who, because they're not directly related, have a little bit more objectivity. But there's definitely a lot of energy around Jared and Ivanka that is more about, listen, you have to protect yourself. You have to be quiet, step back, get out of the limelight, lay low, and know that trouble's coming. And so you kind of need to do what you need to do to take care of yourself, and never mind, kind of what's going on within the family. And it feels a little bit like Daddy is really upset because he feels that she has sort of, she's not there. She's not in his corner fighting loudly and out front, kind of the way the sons are. And so it feels as if he's not exactly thrilled, and she's standing strong. And I think that's just because she has better advice, right? Whether it's coming from the Kushner family, whether it's coming from her own legal team, but she just has more clarity. And honestly, I'm not giving her a lot of credit for her own uh, ability to figure this out, as much as it just feels like she's getting good advice and she's decided she better listen to that good advice. So that's what you've got going on there. You can anticipate Daddy becoming more and more of everything, more erratic, more angry, more irrational. Um, you know, it's getting so that there are many Republicans who are like, please don't come to our state. Please don't help. But, his ego is such that he can't not. He sees that as flat out rejection. And he can't take that, right? So you can just see where there's this sort of, I'm going to do what I want because I'm brilliant and nobody is as smart as me, except when it comes to healthcare and taxes. Who knew? Who knew it was that complicated? Yeah, you know what? This is the thing. One of the um, maneuvers, if you will, that the family has always used is that, great, take me to court, and then I'm going to drag it out, and I'm going to drag it out, and I'm going to drag it out. And he did that before he was in the White House. He certainly loved to do it in the White House when he wasn't paying the legal bill for it. But this feels as if this stuff is coming at him so fast. There are so many investigations. There's so much information that is going to be coming out July, August, that the judgment is going to be very, very difficult because, listen, this is the thing, and we all know this. You make a statement, and that is a statement that people remember, okay? If you issue a correction later or you try to tone it down later, that doesn't matter because people retain the first thing out. And so they're aware that a lot of the first stuff out is really, really not to their advantage. They are really in a position where they're having to play defense, honestly, in a way that they haven't been used to, right? What they do is they charge ahead and they, call people names and they insult people and they get everybody all whipped up. And that's what holds. And they're now in a position where they're having a hard time because they're not quite sure what's coming down the road. And so they find themselves in a little bit of a position where they really are having to play defense. And it's not a comfortable position for them, but stuff is spiraling too fast. There are some real legitimate fears about this ending up in prison time for some members of that family, of that organization. And, the government is not going to go after them with any charges that they don't believe they have a really, really good shot of you know, getting guilty verdicts on, okay? I don't know if they're going to be going after them with what's called the little RICO, but definitely what's coming at them are going to be hard to get through. Hard, and look at you've got two figures with blindfolds on here. You've got the Two of Swords and you've got the Eight of Swords. And so you have people who are at crossroads, who can't see clearly, who feel restricted, who feel bound. And that energy is just going to continue to grow and amplify. So I think, over the course of July, we are going to, I was going to say see behavior that astounds us, except it really doesn't anymore. We're kind of numb to the crazy. But I think what you're going to see is more people who are really pushing back or fighting against what they perceive as, threats, what they perceive as persecution, what they perceive as, political, sabotage or something. That's not what's going on at all, but that's going to be their tagline. Yeah. Okay. So the money is the trail. That is the trail they're following, and that is going to lead to the trouble. So, I'm hearing things like tax evasion, um, grand larceny, knowingly doing this or that. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so but it definitely feels that it's going to be multiple charges, and they're not going to be charges that, these guys can just easily pass off. Interesting. It looks like Trump is trying to figure out if there's somewhere that he can escape to, if there is a way for him to get out of Dodge or kind of avoid some of this. And he is also going to be really ramping up the whole, yeah, I'm going to be in the White House in July, or in August, I'm going to be reinstated. You know, he is clinging to that because he really does see that as his life raft, okay? But ultimately, it's going to be the money that brings them down. And there is so much that is hidden, so much still to come to light. And again, they kept double sets of books. Well, they're going to do that, and they're found, you're kind of in trouble. One of the other things that they're going to be grappling with as this month unfolds is really that sense of the family legacy, the name, the brand. They're going to start to really recognize that it's taking a real shellacking, and it honestly, it's not going to look as if it is something that is recoverable. They're also going to feel cash flow restrictions. So I don't know if people are going to stop lending them money. I don't know if they're going to lose contracts. I don't know if banks are going to call in loans. But there's definitely going to be restrictions when it comes to their cash flow and damage done to the brand, okay? And again, let's always remember that the only people who give these guys any notice or attention these days are the very people who cannot afford the services that they provide, right? I can promise you that pretty much every single one of those people that were part of that insurgence on January 6th, when they came to Washington, they didn't stay at the Trump Hotel. They couldn't afford to stay there. And so the people who support them now are the people who in no way have an ability to support their brand. And like honestly, that's really what they're about. It's what they've always been about. Don't be surprised if we hear some rumblings about kind of some negotiation maybe that's trying to go on behind the scenes, a little bit of if, this is what you're getting charged with. It may be if, talk to us, maybe we can work something out. Whatever is being offered, particularly that other guy, he's not going to be receptive at all. He's also not going to be receptive to any of the advice he gets. He is being told to be quiet and lay low, and of course that is absolutely in direct opposition to anything that he wants to do. It very much feels like this is one of those situations where it's kind of like, the higher they climb, the harder they fall. And it feels as if they're just now starting to recognize that they actually might fall. They really might fall. Because, this is the thing, right? As long as it is something that could happen, which, kind of is what the investigations felt like, right? It wasn't real. It was aggravating, it was annoying, it infuriated, but it wasn't real. And now it very much feels real, and they are completely incapable of finding balance. And that is truly leading to the end of what they had, the lifestyle they had, the reputation they had, the power that they thought they brokered, whatever it was. There are more doors closing than are opening. A lot more doors closing than are opening. And pretty soon they're going to find themselves really in the company of, the pillow guy, right? Rudy Giuliani is, out of the picture, right? Because, he's upset because, there was a suggestion that he dare to pay legal bills. You have some of the insurrectionists who are now in court also going, on Facebook or wherever and kind of doing the, hey, you know what? Trump, you need to pay for my legal bills too, because you're the reason I'm here. You said you would take care of us. You said. And so pay up. And again, this is not something that a lot of people are going to just go, oh, well, he didn't really mean it. They're going to take it personally, and they're going to take it seriously that he didn't sort of say what or do what he said he was going to do. And you're going to find, as much as there is all of this ring kissing that's going on with the GOP, because things have not loosened enough yet for them to want to change anything. And they really have become a party that is no longer interested in democracy in any way, shape, or form. But you're also going to see a bit of a pulling back from them too. Okay? Not the sycophants, okay? But some of the others, and again, the Republicans are sort of, yellow-bellied. And so it's not that you're going to hear a lot as much as they're just kind of quietly going to fade away, and they have no comment and they have nothing to say. So that's what's going on there. I have to tell you, though, the summer itself, the months of sort of July and August, they really do feel like they're not going to be quiet. It's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot going on. And people who have up until now been very happy to self-sacrifice for the good of Dawn or the good Donald or the good of the family, are really, really having to reevaluate those choices because more and more is coming out of the woodwork, and more they see that they are not going to be protected and law's coming after them, and it's not looking good. So they need to be particularly concerned about female litigators. You're going to see more of a like a retreat into reliving past glories, okay, and complaining about current injustices. A lot of what we would consider thievery, theft, stealing, illegal business practices, that's all going to start coming to the surface. And it's not going to go well for them. It's just not. I think it's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the next couple of months. It's going to be interesting to see what does or does not come out, what does or does not get released. But it definitely feels like this is a family on the edge. They are splintering apart internally. They are fighting and squabbling with each other. They recognize on some level that their father is out of control, but they are frankly as panicked as he is. And so you have the insane leading the irrational. So there's not a lot of clarity, not a lot of calmness. And we all know that when they are threatened, they talk. And nobody has ever been able to convince them that that's when they should be quiet, because they don't like to do quiet. So I guess it's going to be a very interesting month. And like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how hard they fall, because the fall is absolutely coming. I mean, it's just as simple as that. All right. I'm going to be doing the next video that I'm putting out this week, which should probably come out on Friday. I am going to take a look at the insurgents. I'm concerned about this whole, if he's not reinstated in the White House in August, there's going to be a civil war. There's blah 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 blah. So I want to take a look at that, because I have to say, energetically, it doesn't feel like it's going to, I don't want to say amount to a hill of beans, because there are some real believers out there, and they're dangerous because, things are not going their way, and they're going to fight back and push back. But it also feels like there's more fizzle than pop. So I'm going to take a look at that later on this week. Until then, take care. Be well. I'll see you soon.